Hey everybody, Jim Malone here, going live on. Let's see if we. Oh, did it let us or not? No. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's just save those changes. Let's see if we can go. I guess we're live now. Facebook. Oh well. So much. So what? We're back here. It is Thursday. The market kind of was doing good, and then it just kind of came back and. Oh man, we got spanked. Oh well, that's how it is. But that's how it is in the wonderful world of stocks. This is Dell's Trading Floor, and we're going to go through a few stocks, stuff that I was buying today, kind of some stuff out there, and without further ado, let's get into it. The market is under pressure. I mean, it definitely is under pressure. And what does that mean? Well, it means we can't be fully invested. That kind of stinks, but we can't be fully invested in this market. So I'm trying to do stuff with spreads and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you take a look at some of the great Apple bear spread that I have today. That's a kind of a nice trade. And also we have some other trades like the Shopify trade that is doing well in Viva Systems, and we've got a bunch of them. Basically, super easy. Just to get signed up to Dallas Trading Floor. Just go to www.dallastradingfloor.com and get signed up for all those good things. Well, let's take a look at the indexes. Well, all the indexes are off. The Dow is off. The S&P 500 is off. The Nasdaq is off, as well as the Dow Jones. So everything is down. The Nasdaq being the one that is probably down the most. Oh, by the way, I want to show you this beautiful Dallas Trading Floor mug, which is available on our site at www.dallastradingfloor.com. Kind of a cool thing. And if you want a direct link, of course, to the today's show, super easy. Just go to bit.ly/DTF459. That's the show today. So basically, all the major indexes are down. Now, here is what I'm holding long right now. Invitation Homes, that's up. LNG, which is Cheniere, that's off a little bit. Dell, we're up again. So Dell is looking pretty darn good. And Tesla, well, that's down quite a bit, 74. Hopefully it'll bounce. It seems like Tesla is getting some support right about 1,000, and that seems to be the key level for Tesla. That just seems to be the key level for Tesla. If you're watching on TikTok, super easy to get over to the show. Just go to here. Just go up here to bit.ly/DTF459. That's the show number, and you'll be getting the live YouTube feed that way. So that's kind of looking kind of bad. I'm up on Murphy. That for some reason in recessions, convenience stores do really well. I definitely have that on Murphy USA. Matador is down a little bit, but so kind of overall kind of mixed. Here's a stock I did buy today, Matador Resources. It's off a little bit, but was coming through a really nice pattern. It's a reversal. I bought a half position, and then as it moves towards the buy point, I'll buy another quarter. And then another quarter from that. But it's Matador Resources. Even though it's down a little bit today, I'm kind of confident that we'll see it move higher, hopefully soon. Now, here is the small portfolio. This is kind of what I've got. I'm up basically on the three things, and I'm down on one I bought today, and that's Matador. Hopefully, one day, I've only had it one day, but we're down about 1%. Hopefully that'll turn around. And again, it's only a half position. It's only a half position on that one, so kind of cool on that. All right, next one, and I'm going to get to everybody here. There's a question from TikTok about the spider. I'm going to talk a little bit about that just in a second. Bitcoin. This is the monthly chart for Bitcoin. As you can see, we came down. We tested that 42,000 level, and then we bounced back up, and now we're headed back down. So I see some weakness right now for Bitcoin, at least for the time being. I think it might move. It might move down a little bit. I think 30,000 is an important level on Bitcoin. Just kind of want to throw that in there. Currently, I don't have a position in Bitcoin, but hey, we're looking at everything here. If you want to get the January 2022 stock watch list, super easy. It's all free, by the way. Just go to www.bit.ly/DTF0025. So that will get you that list. It's kind of a cool thing. And of course, if you ever want to see any prior issues, just go to youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor and DallasTradingFloor.com. So without further ado, let's get to some of the questions. Thanks everybody for waiting and holding on here. Appreciate it. And let's get a question from YouTube first. Hi Jim, your thoughts on Citi, ticker C, and Ford. Now Ford's doing great, by the way. I have to say, let's kind of jump on over to the Ford chart and take a look there to see kind of what's going on with Ford. And Ford is looking very, very good right now. It's just it's really lining up very, very nicely. And of course, it's a little bit extended above the 10-day line. Now we can't really buy it here. Unfortunately, the last buy point here was down here at 1655. It's a tad extended. I want to see it move down a little bit closer to that very critical 10-day line. So right now it's at 5 to 6%. Well, it's 6% above the 10-day line. You really want to buy it a little bit closer to that 10-day line. Let's see if it pulls back down just a tad, but you could actually add here. I wouldn't buy a new position here, but you definitely could add here. The stock is doing well. It has a 67 checklist, and basically it's about 52% above the pivot in 59 days. So Ford is actually looking fairly good. I mean, I wouldn't buy GM, and Tesla is very volatile, but Ford is looking pretty decent. So I would say, you've got a good thing going on there. Now, Citi, on the other hand, I'm a little bit suspicious on Citi, one of the weaker money center banks. And as you can see, it's trading below that very critical 200-day line. I don't like to buy stocks below the 200-day line, but it does look like it's making this movement up. So that's very, very good here. I did do a bear put spread on Citi. I closed it, and then it moved higher. So we made a little bit of money there. That was the last time I dealt with Citi. Earnings are in one day. I just would wait until we're through earnings to do anything. I just really would. I think that's going to be a better bet. Let's go over to some of the TikTok questions. Let's see if I can pull that up on the screen. I'm going to see if I can. Okay, let's see if I can pull that up on the screen here. Okay. Let's look at some of the TikTok questions here. All right. Yeah, there we go. There's my ugly mug up there. All right, so there we go. Okay, so full screen. Okay, so basically, basically on TikTok, does the market crash? Well, yes, it does, but it's not crashing now. Currently, we're in a confirmed uptrend. So we're not in a confirmed uptrend, we're in an uptrend under pressure, excuse me. So we want to be about 50% in cash and 50% else. Now, I did see another question here on TikTok. Let me see if I can say, the spider. This is a question on the spider. I mean, kind of what's going on with the spider, and can we do anything? So let's jump on over to the spider chart. And this is a question from TikTok, and I want to kind of jump over there. So let's go over to the spider chart here real quick. And there we go. Okay. All right, and jump on over to the spider here, and then kind of give you the idea, because we do have something here. So basically, what's going on with the spider? We pulled back to that critical 40-day moving average, and it does look like it may be reversing higher. I wouldn't be a buyer here, though. I just wouldn't be a buyer here. It looks like it's testing that 50-day line, but let's see if it can maintain some strength. Let's look at some technical indicators here just to see kind of where we're at on the spider. Right now we are above the 200-day line. That is good, but we are under all three of the other indices. We can possibly move back in to the spider if we can move above that 10-day line. Now currently we're 1.17% below the 10-day line on the spider. If it was up about 5 or 7 points, then we could possibly look at coming back in here. But what's happened is it came up to that 10-day line here, and it was rejected at that 10-day line. So I would not buy it unless it could move above that little point right there. So unless it can move above that, I would not be a buyer. I want to see it move right up to the 10-day line. If it moves above the 10-day line, that is great. But as you can see, the trend in the spider has not been good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days below that 10-day line. I want to see it move above that 10-day line before I would be willing to get back in. So right now it's trading below the 10-day line. Not a good look. Not a good look. So I would not be a buyer on the 10-day line. All right. We talked a little bit about, did we talk about Citi? I guess no. Okay, here we go. Great. Let's take the question on Tesla. Thank you, Brian, so much. Where do you see support at Tesla? I basically see support on Tesla at about 1,000, but I want to kind of go over the chart with you. To kind of let's take a look at the chart and see. So let me bring that chart up. There we go. All right. So here we are basically with the chart of Tesla. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off some of my, I have a lot of, this chart is kind of marked up because I am trading it actively. So let's take away those annotations that I have on it, kind of go through it very, very quickly. This is the trend line that I have here. It broke through the trend line. And that was, that's kind of where you want to start looking to add, but now it's below now it's below that critical trend line. So not a good place. Now where the support is right about 1,000. I currently have my stop loss set at 980. As you can see, it's right below that, and it came down and it tested. So I do think that that's probably a pretty aggressive stop loss, but that's where I would be setting my stop loss, about 980 or so. I do think support basically for Tesla is right at about that 1,000 level. So let's go to the 30-minute chart and kind of take a look to see. This is, as you can see, this is the 1,000 level right about here. Let's draw it across there. That's the 1,000 level. I think that's where your support is. It did come down, it tested, didn't quite come all the way down to 1,000, and then it's come back down again and it's bounced again. So I definitely think there is psychological support at about the 1,000 mark. That would be right about here. Now we're currently, right now, we changed from an upward trend. We're currently in a downward trend. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to reactivate this trend line, and basically what we're talking. Oops, let's see if I can do it. Let's see if it'll let me. There we go. Reactivate that trend line. Okay. Well, okay. This is the trend line. We're still just barely above that trend line. So we are just barely in an upward trend. Okay. I do think that, we're going to get a bounce here. We're going to get support here at this trend line. It's probably going to move up, but I do think the support, the floor basically is about at 1,000. Let's go over to a site that I really like to use. And that is, that is a site called, Earnings Whispers, and it shows the it shows where the pivots are. And so I want to kind of go into there and see if we can bring up the Tesla chart to kind of get an idea, sort of, of what we're talking about in terms of, what we're talking about in terms of the in terms of things. So I'm going to put in Tesla, TSLA. Of course, that's the symbol. That's the ticker for Tesla. Now we're coming up on earnings, so that's the reason I want to kind of look at this chart and show you kind of what is going on with with Tesla. So let's go over to the share here and share screen. All right, and this is the Earnings Whisper site. You might be interested in this one. I like this one because it shows it shows the pivots. Currently, the pivot currently we're right now the pivot the main pivot is 1,097. If you take a look here carefully, you'll see that the pivot the next pivot down the support is at about 1080, but I believe it's more like 1,000. So that is support. That is basically the floor here. Now, if you look up, there's a buy point at about 1123 and then 1140. These are the pivots as it goes up. Now, we're coming up into earnings. So with Tesla, and this is what the analysts are basically saying. The short-term prices, they're looking at going higher, intermediates higher. Analyst sentiment is very good on this. And there is an expectation of some very good movement in terms of the in terms of the earnings. Earnings are coming up, and I do think we're going to see very nice earnings for Tesla this time. They're saying that their expected quarterly earnings are looking up with the expected quarterly revenue as well. So let's go back and take a look at some of the technicals. I mean, some of the some of the fundamental analysis on Tesla, so to kind of take a look and see if we can kind of see anything there. And of course, I do think that Tesla's earnings are going to be pretty good this time, and I definitely want to kind of go through that just really quickly for everybody here. So basically, what's going on with with the earnings, and this is in the earnings box down here. This is the fundamental analysis that I'm doing. There's both fundamental and technical analysis. When you're looking at the charts, you're looking at technical, and when you're looking at the earnings per share and that kind of thing, you're looking at the fundamental. So this is the fundamental analysis on this. The fundamentals have been pretty stellar for Tesla. We've had a situation where in the last year we've been up at least 20% every quarter, and I definitely think that's going to continue. Also, look here. This is the last quarter. It was up 146% in terms of the profits. I think the profits are going to be absolutely stellar for Tesla. Now, I know it's pulling back today. It's all over the place. Right now, after hours, it pulled all the way down, and now it's back to 1030. So it's very, very volatile. That's part of the reason why, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I have this trade on it. It's called an iron condor, and it's doing quite well. It does very, very well in volatility. If you're interested in that, of course, you need to, we share, of course, everything with everybody that's in the Discord room. But it's a pretty good trade for this particular, in this particular case. So that's kind of how I see it. I definitely see it going higher with Tesla in the earnings. The earnings are coming up on Tesla on the 26th, so they're coming up very quickly. It's the 13th today, so basically 2 weeks, and we're looking at earnings basically for Tesla. So 2 weeks earnings, and that's I think they're going to be good, but I think it's going to be volatile until those earnings. Let's see if we can see another question from TikTok, because we have a lot of people joining in. Thank you. Can you talk about SAVA? This is user. I don't know. This is a user with. So let's talk about this one. SAVA. We're gonna move over to that SAVA and see if I can get all this up here on the screen. Oops. No. Gonna do that in just a sec. There we go. All right. So we'll just have that total up there all the way. Yep. Okay. So basically with this one, SAVA, this is Casanova Sciences. I've seen a lot of people that have been in this one. This was really popular a few months ago. It's not really all that good a stock, no offense. It does seem like it is, it's recovering a bit. But here's the thing I want to show you about this. I would never buy a stock typically that it's below this critical line here. This is the 200-day moving average. Now, I know you're going to probably say, "Well, Jim, you're just kind of, why are you being so harsh here?" But you don't really want to buy a stock that's trading below that 200-day line, because what that's saying is that the institutional money is moving out. Also, another thing I think you've got to take a look at here is the fact that on this line, if you could see this little red line, it's crossed below that. It's crossed below that black line. Well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that's the death cross. This is going lower. So let's kind of take a look at SAVA. Let's see on the technicals. We're under everything. We're below the 200-day line. We're below the 50. We're below the 21-day. We're below the 10-day. And unfortunately, we are very, very far from the pivot. We're, a year ago, this might have been a great stock. Not anymore. Not anymore. The checklist is bad. So here's my 2 cents on SAVA. It's not a stock you want to own. If you're in it and you're down more than about 7%, you really, really, really want to consider possibly selling it. So if you're down more than 7% on a stock like this, SAVA, Casanova Sciences, I think you want to sell. That is sort of the deal. All right, let's take another question from TikTok. Thanks for everybody for watching. Unity Software, this is an interesting company because they create a basis for making games. In the building that we're in, we did have a game company, and they use Unity. So I'm pretty familiar with this software. It's a good software, but the software sector right now has been kind of hammered. The computer software design area, it's 81 out of 197. So this is a declining sector at this time. Why? Because the market is worried about inflation. Inflation is moving higher, and so that means that growth stocks like this might not do as well. This is below the 200-day line. It has a relative strength of 38. This is just not something you want to be in right now. The technicals on it are bad. It's below the 10-day line. It's below the 21-day line. It's below the 50-day line. It's below the 200-day line. What does that mean? Well, that means it's going down. It's going down. And help! I've fallen and I can't get up. I mean, that's the case here. So if you're more than 7% down on this one, consider selling. Consider selling. I think you'll be happier. This one does not look really good. Unfortunately, it just doesn't. It just doesn't look any good. So let's go back to YouTube. Thank you everybody for all these great questions. TSM. Now this one is excellent. Samuel, thank you very much. TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. This came through earnings. Beautiful. I wish that, I didn't buy this one only because it just was, it just didn't set up right, so I don't necessarily get them right all the time. This one is just done terrific. This one's just done absolutely terrific. And I think that, it's definitely worth seeing that if we can hold on to this now. Right now, we're in a buy zone, believe it or not. And this is very exciting because right here, right at this level, right in that buy zone, we came through this pivot. This is the cup. This is basically a cup without handle, and the pivot right here was basically right here. Let's look at it. We can still buy this one. It looks like, yeah, we're a little bit extended from the 10-day line. We're about 8% above, but this is looking very good in every way. Let's look at the pattern rack here, and that's basically telling us the pivot is at 135. We're at 139. This is absolutely buyable right now. Right now, we are at a situation where we could buy this one. Absolutely, we could buy this one. We're only 3% above the pivot in one day. If it can hold here, this is a very good buy point. This is a good buy point. I wouldn't buy a full position here, buy a half position. The question is, what do I mean by a position? Well, think of your portfolio kind of like a pizza. I think about pizza a lot, as you can tell. And if you have this pizza, it's going to have 8 slices, right? Well, you typically don't want to go in more than about a half of a slice, or about a 16th. So if you were to divide up your portfolio in eight slices, each slice would be about 12.5%. Well, if you divide that in half, a half position, that's about 6.25%. So that's what I would buy of Taiwan Semi, and I think it's a very good stock. So if the value of your portfolio was say $8,000, that would give you 8 positions. You'd want to invest half of that, or a half of a position. That would be about $500. So in this case, if you had an $8,000 valuation of your portfolio, you should probably buy no more than 4 shares of this stock. Okay, that's how it works. And the reason that you do that is because if you buy like that and you set your stop loss 7% below where you bought it, the maximum you can lose is 1%. So that's kind of an interesting way to go. In this market, this very, very volatile market, it's much more difficult to trade. Why? Because it's very volatile. So we want to be very careful stepping into the positions. But right now, TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, is absolutely viable at this level. So you definitely could move. You definitely can move in this stock right now. So TSM is viable now, and so that's definitely one that you could get into. I think you're going to do well. I think you would do well with TSM. I really believe you're going to. I really believe that you're going to do pretty well with TSM. TSM is an absolute leader. It's in this electronic semiconductor manufacturing group, 13 out of 197. So it's one of the top groups, and that is a good thing because not only is it reversed higher, but traditionally the correct way to buy it, and of course, did I buy this correctly? No, is to buy it as it moves above that reversal line. That's where you buy a half position. And then when it moves up to the pivot, that's right here, you buy another quarter position. And then as it moves up within 5% of the pivot, that's where you buy your final quarter position. So you end up with a full position, but you're weighted towards a lower price that gives you more, safety on that. And of course, you're always putting your stop losses in as well. So that's a great question. TSM is viable right now, and definitely one you want to be in. All right, Internal Resources, Mr. G, this is great. This one is an oil company. I think oil companies right now are just a great place to be looking for values here. Here's kind of the deal with this one. As you will notice, we're below that pivot, below that buy point on this cup basis, which is great. Now, the buy point on this is 24. See if I can see it, 24.98, because I had to look over a camera there. So it's there. But what we can do is we can look at this. I know I'm kind of going to the side here. It's kind of weird what I'm doing, but let's see if I can show it. All right, put this. What I'm doing is I'm putting in a reversal line. Let's see if I can do that properly. There we go. That's the reversal line. Okay, so basically what's happened here, basically what's happened is we've gone from a downtrend to an uptrend. When it crosses that, that's the first time you can buy. And we're definitely crossed that. As you can see, it came up, it pulled back. So we could definitely buy right here with Antero. We could buy a half position right there. So we could buy a half position right now. And then as it moves higher, and I do believe it's going to move higher because it shifted its direction from a downward trend to coming through to an upward trend. So we want to buy right here. And then the next buy point is right there. That's the traditional buy point. That's where you want to go in with another quarter position. So if you were up to this level and over, you would have 3/4 of position. And then if it continues on higher, you want to buy right there as well. And that's going to give you one full position, but nicely weighted. This is a good stock. It is viable on an early buy point. The early buy point of being, of course, right at that reversal line. So you can definitely buy this one right now. On the technicals, we are still, and this is good, we're still below that 10-day, we're still a little bit above that 10-day line, but it's very nice. I mean, this has gone up 13.94% since the first of the year, and that's basically 2 weeks, so that's pretty good. It's down a little bit today, but I think this is starting to make its move. I definitely think that you would want to come in here with a half position, and then as it moves to the buy point, then you want to possibly go with another quarter, and then once you're at that level, we're basically 9% below the pivot, but we're above that reversal line, so that's very, very good. The reversal line, of course, and I'm going to draw it in here. The reversal line is basically this. So this has moved from a downward trend to an upward trend. We're in a very good place to buy, so we could definitely buy a half position here at about this price. And then as we move up to the buy point, we could buy another quarter position. This will give us 3/4 position at the buy point. And then as it moves above that, we could come in with another quarter. We have a position, very nice position in this. I definitely think this is a good sector to be buying in. As you'll notice, the oil and gas expiration, it's 7 out of 97. So it's looking very, very good in terms of the setup. So I definitely think this is great. And AR, Antero Resources, is a good company. Today I bought Matador, but I think Antero is excellent as well. It's starting to make its move. As it makes its move, good time to buy is right now. And then as it hits the buy point, another quarter, and then as it comes above, another quarter. So very strong stock, good setups, and a good way to go. What about the airline stocks? This is a question coming from TikTok. So let's kind of share. Let's take a look at that, and we're going to go over here to some of the airline stocks, and let's look. First of all, let's look at the group. Let's look at the airline group. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to look for the airlines, and let's look at the airlines. Have been recovering. It's still kind of a weak sector, but let's kind of look to see where the best, where the best stuff is. So let's see if we can find that. And do I have airlines? Let's see. Apparel, automobile, blah 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 blah. It's going to be transportation airlines, I believe. That's the one. So let's go down. There's 97 different sectors. Yeah, there you go. Transportation airlines, not truly one of the best areas of the market. It's basically 6 months ago, this was in 191. So it's basically at the bottom of the barrel, the airline stocks. It's now at 171. So it's a little bit up from the bottom, but I'm not part of the reason I would not buy in this sector is because this sector is on the bottom 20%. And I'm a believer in Pareto's law. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. That's the 80-20 rule. And right now, I don't want to buy anything. I want to buy things in the top 20% of the market. And right now, this is not. Let's see if I can go back to it. I don't know if I got the wrong one. I think I did get the wrong one. This is going to be transportation airlines. So let's bring that one up. There we go. So this is transportation airlines, and this is basically. Let's take a look here and see. And we're looking at the daily and the weekly chart. Now, this is the entire group. So let's kind of see what's happening. We really don't want to be in this because we're below that 200-day line. So that means that investment is fleeing. We also have relative strength of 29. Not a very good place to be, not a good fishing hole, I can tell you this. Right now, the top airline stock isn't even in this country. It's called Ryanair. It's an Irish company, and they're number one. And the other one is never heard of them, Copa. Oh, I guess Copa. Yeah, they're out of Costa Rica. So basically, the domestic airlines are just doing horribly. Delta Airlines 20% below. Just not a place that you want to be. Let's look at Delta, TAL. Of course, the symbol there. Just not a good look. I mean, yes, it has come up in. Sometimes you can do this. I mean, there are some people that are great at doing these very deep they're able to do these very, very deep buys. But I just, for me, it's just too risky. The relative strength is 45. This is one of the best delta, and it's below the 21-day line. So I just think you need to avoid this group altogether. I really do. I think you need to avoid. You just need to avoid the airlines. So avoid the airline stocks right now. Because these stocks just aren't doing well. I mean, unfortunately, and it's kind of sad because I do like the airlines, but we may have another COVID thing, and this just isn't the place you want to be. This is Delta Airlines. No, I wouldn't buy this. I just wouldn't buy this. Not a good look. What we want to do, and I'm going to kind of show you, is what we need to do here is we need to be buying in the top sectors of the economy, not in the bottom sectors. So let's take a look at some of the top sectors. Let's look at some of the top sectors of the economy. And so I'm going to go back to the screen. I'm going to sort it by the best areas to be looking. This is sort of our little treasure map here. We want to be looking at the best of the best. So let's see if I can sort on this. Let's maybe go a little bit more there. Okay. All right. Well, I want to see. Let's see if I can go over here and give me industry group. There we go. Industry group ranking. So let's see if I can get this to. There we go. Okay. So here we go, and kind of want to show you what areas that I'm looking in to find buys. Well, I'm looking at the top areas in the market, and the reason I'm doing that is because that's where we're going to get some of our best bargains. So airlines are definitely not in that case. The number one group right now is oil and gas, Canadian explorers. Now there's only 5 stocks in here, but this is a good place to look. Semiconductor fabless. This is where we possibly have Qualcomm setting up, and I want to show you that. Telecom, wood products, believe it or not, welding wood products, coal is up there. So basically, if we look at the top 40 areas, it basically goes, wholesale auto parts, retail building products, wholesale food, basically oil and gas integrated. That's a good area to look. Because of the inflation, we're going to see a lot of action in some of the oils and some of the potentially the convenience stores, consumer retail. Some of the agricultural chemical areas are doing well. I mean, not the normal things that you would normally be looking at. Some banks in here. So really, the finance loan area. This is another area that I think is doing very well because we're going to have interest rates going up, and so I think that this might be an area to look at for some potential, some potential. Now these are kind of the, here's one, Coastal Finance. It's CCB. You've never heard of it? I've never heard of it, but it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. This is the kind of stock right now that you probably want in your portfolio. On the technical basis, it's just right at the 10-day line. You could buy it here. Got an 89% checklist. It's in one of the top groups. And let's see how close to, well, it's a 54% above that pivot. It just kind of keeps moving right up this line here. So this is one that you might want to kind of look at. Coastal Financial, CCS. I'm not a huge volume, 168. So probably a little bit thin for me to buy this one. But this is another area that you're going to see some very good things. So I'm looking in the consumer finance area and some of the oils because they typically do better when you have this kind of inflationary situation that is going to affect the market, I'm afraid, for everything. And that's going to be a big issue. So those should do well. The oils should do well, and also the kind of the consumer financing ones. All right. Let's go back to TikTok here. Get some questions there. See if I can move over to that screen. All right. And by the way, everybody that's looking on TikTok, I can't show you the actual the actual the actual charts, but I can show you the comments. And so if you to see the charts, just go to bit.ly/DTF 459, and that's a direct feed for the that's direct feed for on the for YouTube. All right, so let's look at SOFI. This was a good one. SOFI. I don't think it's doing all that well right now. Let's kind of go over to that and see. SOFI. Take a look. Ooh, not a good look there. Not a good look at all. I'm sorry to say. Don't really want to be in SOFI right now, but let's kind of analyze it and see why we don't want to be in this one. And that is SOFI. So let's go over there and take a look. SOFI Technologies, of course, this is in the consumer loans finance space, which is a normally good space. I mean, it's 46 out of 197. It's just that this particular issue is not doing all that well. You can see it had a golden cross here when the 40-day moved above the 200-day. That was good, but unfortunately, it gave it all up and it's going back down. So it has a relative strength of 17. This is not a good look. This is not a stock you want to buy. You want to buy them in an upward trend. This one currently is only a 56 checklist. The technicals, not so much. And the pattern recognition, well, it's 40% below the 52-day. It's 52 days from the pivot, and it's 40% below where it pivoted. Not a good look. Definitely, you don't want to buy this one. This one is a no buy. You just don't want you don't want oops, that's Tesla. That's TSM. So with SOFI, SOFI, don't buy it. Don't buy it, because it just is not. It's not one you want right now. This is not working, at least for a lot of people. So not so hot. Let's go back to some of the people on TikTok for questions there. Thank you for holding on. Let's see if we can pull that back. All right. Can I buy AMD? This is a very good question, because AMD, of course, is one of the top stocks, and it's in a very good it's in a very good area. The semiconductor fabless is definitely where you want to have some exposure. This is the number 2 group right now, so very, very strong in terms of very, very strong in terms of groups that you want to be in. But the question is, can we buy AMD? And I want to show you this. I do think, though, I'm going to show you some alternatives possibly to NVIDIA and AMD right now, just because the AMD just is not set. It's a great stock. It just isn't set up properly right now. But let's take a look at AMD. Basically, we are still obviously above that critical 200-day line, so that is good. We have strong relative strength at 96. That's excellent, but we have fallen. The 10-day line has fallen below the 40-day line. So what that means is a little bit of weakness. So what I'm looking at to buy AMD is I'm looking at it to reverse higher. Right now, the trend for AMD is downward. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in, a line. I'm going to put in a reversal line, and hopefully I get it to work. Okay. All right. Okay, set that alert, see if it works. All right, well, I want an alert on the line, so that's not working. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Well, I'm going to go to the weekly chart to erase that, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to draw the line again. I'm going to give it another try to see if I can make this work. So basically, this is the reversal line here, and what we want to do is we want to set an alert on that line, and that is the reversal line. So basically, what's happening is currently AMD is below that reversal line. I'm going to remove this one because that was the last reversal line I had. So currently, AMD is in a downward trend. So I would not be a buyer of AMD here. Now, that said, I do think that there are some opportunities in this space. And one of the areas one of the stocks that I was looking at this morning is Qualcomm, QCOM. This one is a little bit extended, but I think it's set up a little bit better than AMD is right now, and this is viable basically above this level here. This is sort of the higher high, so I'm going to set I'm going to set an alert on that line. So that's one that we could possibly look at. I also want to look at this group, this semiconductor fabless group, because I think it's such a good area. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over here, back over to the list, and look at that semiconductor fabless group and see if we can get other stocks that will work maybe as good or better than either NVIDIA or AMD. Right now, the one I like, as you can see, this is Qualcomm. I like this. Rambus is also very strong. So I also want to look at Rambus. This is probably not a company that you've heard of, but I've had very good luck with this stock for some reason. Don't know why, but this one is kind of set up a little bit better than some of the other ones. And this is what I kind of want to show you. We had this cup here, and then we had this breakout from the cup with handle at 24.29, and then we've moved above that, and now it's kind of coming back down, testing that 40-day line, and it looks very much like it's going to move above this reversal line. So this is kind of this is what I want. This is what I want to see. So I do believe that we're getting to the point where we could buy Rambus. And Rambus is a very inexpensive stock. It's only $28. Now, obviously, you shouldn't make up your mind based on the price of the stock, but this is a stock that could easily move up very, very much more. So I want to look at the technicals on this one. We're basically at the 10-day line, so that's very good. We're 19% above that 200-day moving average, excuse me, and we're 2.4% above the 50-day line. So this is setting up very, very nicely, very, very nicely. We have a pivot, and we're up 12% in 44 days from that pivot. Now, we don't have another base formed yet, but I do believe that based on this chart, we're going to see it move above that 29. So where you could sneak into this one, Rambus, would be if it moved above here, that would buy that half a position. Then as it moves above here, that's where you could buy another quarter, and then if it moves beyond there, you could buy a third quarter there for a full. So there you go, half, quarter, quarter. And I do believe this is gonna reverse because it's come down and it's tested, and now it's moving above that 21-day line, and it's moved above the 10-day line, and it's going to reverse higher. So this is one you want to kind of watch list. I do think that you can buy this one, and I think you'd be happy. I wouldn't necessarily invest everything in this one, but there are some stocks out there that are great in the semiconductor fabless space. Rambus is one of them. I've had very good luck with this stock in the past, and I think that it's not as well known as some of the other names, but it's also very good. Now, going back to the semiconductor fabless, and of course, this is one of the areas of the market that's doing super duper well. Another one I want to bring up, it's not viable, but it's also another one that I kind of want to put on your radar screen. You might want to watch list this one. It's called On Semiconductor, and it's a very nice company as well too. A lot of data center chips, and the whole chip shortage thing is making this one work as well. So that's one I kind of want to put on your radar. Thank you so much for that question, John. Very, very good question. All right, Troy is asking, shorting space has been my best trade this year. Right on. Okay, let's go over to space. That you're very smart about that, Troy, because when a stock that's really popular moves up, then it does not so much, then it can be a great short. So let's analyze Virgin Galactic. I'm going to go out here to the monthly chart and look at this. I mean, it was going up, it was rocketing to the moon, and I did have some trades on this one. I did pretty well on this, rocketing to the moon up to 60. Now it's at a relative strength of 2. Unfortunately, most of the meat is gone. There's not a lot of meat on the bone right now, but everybody was so excited, and then not so much. How it always works that way. But yeah, this one has just been a straight shot down. Doesn't have a lot more to go, so I don't know how much more you could short on this one. But that's kind of what you want to look at. You want to look at stocks that sort of were super great. Everybody was loving them, and then not so much. I'm going to go and look at Peloton and see, kind of check in with them. I haven't shorted Peloton, but I do think that Peloton is a potential short, and I want to kind of look at it a little bit. It's only at 32. It was all the way up here, at the 180 range, and a lot of people are bailing on this thing. Their sales are slowing. I mean, they still have sales, but they're slowing down, and they're starting to lose more money. Ooh, this is not good. So let me show you where this one could possibly be shorted. All right, we've moved below that 200-day line there on Peloton, and we have this 40-day line here. This is the dead cat. This is the cat that's trying to climb up the wall. Then boom, it gets kicked off, and then climbs up again. Boom, it's going to climb back up to about 40. And when this thing gets to 40, that's where you probably want to short this bad boy, because it's probably going lower. It's probably going lower. The checklist is horrible at 33. So this is a potential moneymaker. Oh, wait a minute. I had my thing there. Let me take that banner off. I forget. I get too excited about these things. So this is Peloton. And, with Peloton, sometimes I get too excited. I get too much into the charts, and I don't have the right banner. But with Peloton, this is a shorting candidate. So this is definitely a shorting candidate. Peloton, I think it's probably going to go lower. It's at 32. It's right now at 32. I think a lot of people are going to be looking for an exit on this one. And a lot of people are going to be looking for an exit. The fundamentals don't look too hot. And but let's see if we can look to see kind of where this one might be shortable. Well, I do think it's going to pull up about to 40, and that's where you're going to probably have the best opportunity. But it does look like it is trading below the 21-day line. So the question is, where's the 21-day line? Well, let's put on the handy dandy thing here and see. The 21-day line right now is at 37.37. So if this thing trades up $5, I think you want to short it. And I think you want to short it right there. So I'm going to put that on my list of things to do, because this looks like a very, very, very good short. As you can see, we did have sort of the top here. This was, back here. And then we had this is called the right shoulder. And then this is the left shoulder. All right. So this is the shorting pattern. This is what they call the head and shoulders. The left shoulder is higher, and then the head's higher than that. And then the right shoulder is here. And then we get the breakdown. And the breakdown, as you can see, it starts to try to hold on to that 21-day line, and it's just trying. If this thing rallies up to the 21-day line here, this is a possible short. So you might want to look at Peloton if you're interested in shorting. Now, here's how I short. It's up to you, but I like to do bear put spreads because they limit the risk in case I'm not quite right. All right. Let's look at Amazon. AMZN, of course, is the symbol there. Of course, that's one of the big ones, AMZN. And it's sort of, it's not at a place I would buy it. I mean, it's a great stock, and it's been a great stock, and it will probably be a great stock probably for the rest of my lifetime. But it's below that critical 200-day line. And when it's below that 200-day line, I just don't like to buy them long. Now, it might set up for a short, which I don't think it's going to do. You don't want to short this one. But it is below, and I'm going to reactivate the trend line. You see, what this is this is the trend line. We're in a downward trend. When it crosses above that, possibly it's going to move up. But right now, you just don't want to buy Amazon. It's in a downward trend. So it's not a good time. It just is not a good time. That's all it is. Oh, hey, by the way, pizza. Pizza's in a downward trend too. Okay. I think, is that Domino's? DPZ? Let's take a look at that. DPZ. this yeah, Domino's. Okay, pizza. Yeah, pizza is definitely, look at that. Pizza's in a downward trend. You are so right. You are so right. Well, pizza's come down and it went all the way up to the buy point here, the 548 buy point, and then it got a little bit of resistance at 550, pulled back down. It's already down to the 200-day moving average, and but it still doesn't have the death cross. This is the golden cross here, but it still hasn't created a death cross. So my guess is, my guess is, we're going to be in a consolidation on Domino's Pizza. Okay, we're going to be on Domino's Pizza. So the question is, what can we do with DPZ? Well, this may be a candidate for what they call an iron condor. Okay, I'm going to take a look at this one, possibly to be on DPC. I'm going to look at this one for a potential iron condor because this might work out well. But you're right, pizza's falling. I wouldn't buy it long, but interesting stock. Okay. Anyway, on the S&P 500, let's take a look at the S&P. I think a lot of people play the S&P. Of course, it's the one. It used to be the spider is the one that covers it. But let's look at the index itself, and of course, that is going to be the S&P 500 index. And I want to just show you, this is the actual index here. So let's take a look at it. You can see it's kind of bouncing up. This is very typical. It comes up and then it tests at the 50-day, comes up, tests, and it looks as like we had another test, but we've had 3 tests in a row, right here, and then right here. So it looks like, at least for now, we're testing here. Hopefully this will go higher. Hopefully it can hold this trend. But remember, we're in an uptrend under pressure, and this is why this is losing a little bit of gas here. So here's the thing: if you're down on, if we get a reversal candle here, I would stay in it. But right now, I think you got to be careful. I wouldn't short the spider, or that, but but right now it does look like it is still ascending, but it's not doing quite as well as it was, and that's true because the overall market is not doing quite well. Okay. Oh, hey, thank you. You you were right about it. Yes. Thank you so much, Jay, for putting this out, and thank you for backing me up on this. Thank you for very much backing me up. I'm going to take a picture of that because there we go. Okay. The reason why this happens is that these big funds, the big boys, they get in, they get all excited, and then they go over to CNBC, and Jim Cramer says, "Oh, CrowdStrike, it's the best thing that's ever happened. It's so great," and then they start selling. This is how they operate. See, you can't. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative here, but there's a lot of fake news out there, especially when it comes to stocks, because money's involved. And when people are in the wrong stocks, the big boys are in the wrong stocks, they like to sell and give the bag to you. I've held so much bag in my career as an investor. It's not funny. So that's why I always look at the charts, and I do not trust Jim Cramer. Now, I'm sure he's a wonderful guy, and he's a lot richer than I am. He's much more famous, obviously. But these guys, they do it every time. If the stock is not working, they put out good, they'll put out good news, and then they'll start exiting the door. So here's a way that we can check to see how they're exiting the door. So this is the list of everybody that's in CrowdStrike. All the big boys are in here, and there's just a lot of them. Vanguard. These are really top rated funds. Look at this. These are all really big guys. Now, the problem when you're all in and everybody knows it, it's kind of like everybody knows about CrowdStrike and it's going down. So guess what? We've now got to get out of CrowdStrike, but we have to get out so that it doesn't go down as much and we don't lose as much money. So what do they do? Well, what they do sometimes is they put out fake stories. Not all the time, but sometimes they put out those fake stories. Now, we're still growing in terms of the number of we're still growing in terms of the number of funds, but what's happening is the funds are reducing their position. They're 49% of CrowdStrike is funds, and they definitely are growing up. I mean, in the last, but I have a feeling when we get to earnings on March 16th, we're going to start to see this number come down a little bit. We have 1334 funds in there right now, and who knows? But I don't think it. I think they're reducing their position. Why? Because yes, they are making a profit. They have some very nice earnings coming up, but it's just not supporting it. Look at this chart. This is the month. This is the weekly chart. Okay, we came all the way up here. We tested. We came up all the way up here to this pivot, the 287 pivot, and basically it didn't have enough juice to step up here. And when it didn't have enough juice, that's where the selling started. The problem with CrowdStrike right now is you have this happening. I think you could see this here, but this red line is crossing below this black line. So the black line is the 200-day moving average, and this red line is a 40-day moving average. So what is this called? This is called the death cross. And I want to kind of point this out to you. This is the indicator that I use to see if the funds are making their way towards the exits. Okay, this is what, and I always look at this. If this happens, I'm suspicious. So that's if this kind of thing happens, if this line, this 40-day line, drops below that 200-day line, that means that people are getting out of Dodge. They're getting out of Dodge. So because remember, 49% of CrowdStrike is the funds. So when this starts to happen, this is where you want to be very careful because there might be some more funds getting out. Now, will this be a good short? This isn't really a good short setup yet, but it may turn into one because it was so heavily subscribed. Now, it did have a little bit of a dead cat bounce, not much. I mean, this is like 49 cents. It was down today about 6%, and then it bounced back. That's usually what will happen, and you'll see that you'll have this downward trend, and then after hours it'll just, and this only shows the regular market hours. It'll bounce up a little bit after hours. Nothing goes down straight. It kind of comes down. It goes down. Oops. It kind of goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, and it goes up, and then it goes down. So that's kind of how a stock retreats. So thank you very much for that, Jay. I hope that you weren't caught in that, and maybe you'll make some money on that. All right, last question. This is a question on NVIDIA. This is one of my favorite stocks. Unfortunately, it's not behaving well, and that is an issue for me. Not for me. Not for me. I still like the stock. I think it's a long-term hold. But if you're a trend trader like I am, I'm kind of a trend trader. This would be difficult at this level. This is a little bit difficult for me to hold. I do have this trend line on it. We have fallen below the 40-day moving average. We're still above that 200-day average, so we're still looking very good. This is not a broken stock by any stretch of the imagination, and I do think that we're getting some strength here. We're just seeing a little bit of strength, but here's the thing. You don't want to be holding this one because this could come all the way down to this 230 support. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen because NVIDIA is an incredibly strong stock, but 230 is a floor there, and we're at 265. This could come down at least 10%, and if it did, it probably would get support here. But this is in a downward trend, as you can see. It's in a downward trend. Now, I did draw this trend line, and it does look like it's right on this trend line, and the trend is down. Hopefully it'll move above that. If it does, then I'll consider possibly moving back in. But I want it to not only reverse, I want it to come back up to the 40-day line and move above that. That's kind of where I want it to be. Okay, well, I've done a whole hour of time, and I didn't get to everybody's questions, but thank you, Derek. Thank you, SWS. If you want to get involved with the Discord room, and we have some great trades in there, some great people, do consider possibly taking a look at the Discord room. Very easy to do. All you have to do is just go to www.Dallas Trading Floor, and there's a button that you could push and find out more about that. It is a paid service, but we have some great spread trades in there, and we have some good traders. And I'm trying to do a lot of education. And I think we're going to, even in this tough market. This is a tough market to trade right now. This is a tough market to trade. Um, we in this market we still have to be careful, and I have some trades to do that. Okay, one last thing on for this gentleman here, and I'm just going to do this here really quickly. He's going to says, "How can I see your screen?" And I'm going to say, "Okay, go to um, www dot," and I'm just putting this out there, bit.ly slash, oops, and that's D, oops, DTF 459. Okay, so I'm going to send that over to the person on TikTok. I can't on TikTok, unfortunately, I cannot display the charts, and hopefully we're going to have some the software is going to be updated. I'm going to be able to do that. Right now, the way I do it is with a YouTube feed, and the way that works is if you just it's this number on YouTube. So all you have to do is go to www.Dallas Trading Floor. There's a live feed of this that you can see everything. I'm going to be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Do check out www.Dallas Trading Floor. Get on our free action trade alerts. It's a good thing. And then also we have the Discord room as well. So without further ado, I will see you back here tomorrow on Friday. It'll be the end of the week. And hopefully, oh, by the way, I want to say one thing to the people that are watching on YouTube. Please like me, because that gets me out to more people. And I do appreciate that very, very much. So until tomorrow at 4 o'clock, happy trading, everybody.